How about this lady in the far back?
Hi, I have a question that's kind of a David and Goliath kind of question. And we drove here from Maine today because we've supported you since 2004. We wish you had been at the top of that ticket. I think it would have been a different result. But my question is really about how distressing it is that the major media outlets and their corporate sponsors seem to have already reduced this to a two-person race. Yes. And I have nothing personal against either Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama. However, I really resent the fact that they've decided to speak for Americans who have other choices in mind. In my case, you. Yes. And Elizabeth. My question is, how do we, as people who find that distasteful and resent it and find it patronizing and all of that, make sure that we don't let that happen this time? And the bigger thing is being hopeful. When you are elected, you know from your days as a lawyer representing small people against big interests that we have a very entrenched corporate political system, and I'd be curious in some of your big picture ideas about how you would go about changing that infrastructure.
Well, one of the places that we have that problem, the one you just described, is in the concentration of media ownership in this country, which is very unhealthy for this democracy. I don't know about you, but I don't want Rupert Murdoch on every newspaper in America. And I think this concentration of media prevents diverse voices from being heard. I think, first of all, let me do the second part, and then I'll do the first, since I'm already on. There are a whole group of things we need to do. First, we need a president who actually is accustomed to fighting these big, powerful interests and winning, and which I have done my whole life. I mean, I didn't get to this place by accident. I mean, I spent a long time winning these battles over and over and over. You know about my background. For me to come from there to being a serious candidate for president is a huge leap. And I got here because I've been fighting these battles for a long time and winning them for a long time. I think there are certain things that have to happen in the law. We ought to be publicly financing all of our campaigns. We have to stop the revolving door between lobbyists and government, where they lobby, come into the government, go back to lobbying. They're lobbying their friends as a result, their political cronies and buddies. That has to come to a stop. I'm going to be really blunt about something. We got to shake that place up. That's what we got to do. You know, they all think they can go up there and hang around with their pals during the day, go to cocktail parties at night, and everything's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay that we have 200,000 veterans living under the bridges. It is not okay that James Lowe lived for 50 years without health care. It's not okay that we have people going hungry in America. That's not okay. And I'm perfectly willing to make them uncomfortable if that's necessary to get these things done. I mean, we do have to shake it up. We can't just accept the status quo and say we're going to keep operating the way we are now. That's the way we reclaim the democracy. Now, as to the elections, my own view about this is that voters here and in Iowa and in the early states have an enormous and powerful voice. I mean, you don't have to, these people can't tell, are you really going to let people in Washington, D.C. decide who you're going to vote for? Nope. I'm telling you, that's exactly what she's talking about. That's precisely what she's talking about. And you're in a different place in New Hampshire and in Iowa and in some of these earlier states than a lot of Americans in. I mean, yes, does the big mass media, do they control what most of the country sees? Yes. But here, you actually see the candidates. You're going to see us up close. That's what I was talking about earlier when I said you ought to judge our honesty, our sincerity, what you can depend on. Because the future of the country is at stake. And there's no reason to have anything against any of these other candidates, but you deserve to know what your choices are and what the different choices are. That's what you deserve to know. And you can't, this all goes back to the same problem. I mean, the big corporate interest in Washington decide what's going to happen with your democracy and what's going to happen in your government. You can't let them decide what's going to happen in your elections. You can't. Then they're not only controlling your democracy, they're actually controlling your elections. This is your country. This is our country. It doesn't belong to them. It belongs to all of us. And your voice is enormously important in ensuring that everybody in this country is heard. Your family, your parents, my parents, your children. That's what this election is about. We can't let these people continue to control what's going on.